Dijonai Carrington seemingly poking Caitlyn Clark in the eye intentionally in what is the first 90 seconds of game one of their playoff matchup. And I say seemingly because she's got a black eye now. But the first angle of this video, Chad, I thought it was a basketball play. And then I see further evidence of it being, honestly, an eye gouge with claws. These nails.
How is that allowed?
I don't know, man.
They're weapons.
If we go back to the one where
she's got blue nails that are claws. When I played church league basketball, they made you take a necklace off if you had one on because it could be dangerous to an opponent to have any kind of jewelry on. And the women of the WNBA are allowed to wear claws while they play, the long nails.
Yeah,
I don't understand that.
Yeah, no foul was called, by the way. That's the other thing. But Bobby Brack points out, hey, there should be a suspension here for Carrington. Carrington, who has a history of, not liking Indiana Fever fans and being jealous of Caitlyn Clark to the point where she's responding with calling Indiana Fever fans nasty. And you see in June, you got the foul on the court, immediately mocking her as a flopper. And then she goes on rants on social media where she was
referencing
fans
Clark
being racist.
Caitlyn Clark nudging an opponent. Go back to that one, guys, before that, where she's referencing in a rant on social media. There's no screenshot of this, so I'm guessing she may have deleted it at some point, and says a lot of things about I'm this, and this, a lot of derogatory words, who needs to go back to Africa when I do it, huh? And then is talking about Caitlyn Clark. Look, there's a lot to unpack here. Here's the worst one to me. I don't know if we have a screenshot of it, but it's, again, something that she ranted on in social media. And she says, dang, how one cannot be bothered by, and this is about Caitlyn Clark not crushing her own fans, right? She's asked about, hey, do you denounce this or that? And she's just like, I'm not paying attention to that. I can't control it.
But it would be also defending the players that were going after her.
She says, I'm paid to play basketball, and that's what I'm worried about. A very reasonable response. And it was in a, do you feel like a lot of this stuff is happening because of the culture war, yada, yada, yada,
right,
whatever. And she said, dog, how can one not be bothered by their name being used to justify racism, bigotry, misogyny, xenophobia, homophobia, and the intersectionalities of them all is nuts. We all see the shit. We all have a platform. We all have a voice, and they all hold weight. Silence is a luxury. Fast forward a couple months, and the same person who posted that blaming Caitlyn Clark for racism.
Right.
That's what I'm reading here. She's blaming someone who does not appear to be racist or a bigot or misogynist or any of these things. She's pinning, she is the spokeschild, the spokesperson of racism in America. This woman, this white girl from Iowa, Caitlyn Clark, is the epitome of racism in her eyes. That's what she's saying. And then she gives her a black eye in a game that I think she clearly could have controlled her hand and arm better.
Oh, the way
when she tried to block the shot on a jump shot. This is not like in traffic.
It gouges in.
Body jumping up.
If we could show video, to me it's obvious.
She's making a pass, and then she puts her hand up, and then her hand goes down with her claw into her eye. And what is her first response in the moment? Because I've seen the video of it, and the first response is not to, oh, hey, are you okay? When she's down on the ground holding her eye, knowing you just jab someone in the eye.
Offer.
It's to look at the official and plead with the official. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything wrong. Almost as if she knew what she was doing when she did it.
And no foul was called.
No foul was called.
Just as egregious.
By the way, when I hear Dijonai, I get really hungry for Dijonais. Dijon mustard mayonnaise combination. Dip that in some grilled chicken in it. It's delicious. That's what I think about. No foul was called. She needs to be suspended for the rest of this series. I am sorry, but there is no other way to say this than it's premeditated. If you are dumb enough,
90 seconds
if you are dumb enough to go on social media as an athlete in any sport and blame racism on a player and then go out and hurt them. I don't care if you got tripped by 3 other players and the back of your head busted her in the nose. If she's out for any time or her play is affected, you're out. Why? Because I've got it on record where you're blaming this girl for racism. That's why.
Well, she's actually mocking anyone who isn't.
No, this
black.
is the whole, I get so tired of this, though. Like, you are supposed to be professional athletes, okay? Everyone wants to get mad about you're playing your part in the culture war and you're playing your part. Play damn basketball.
Yeah.
Like, you are paid to play the sport. If you want to be taken seriously, Dijonai Carrington or Kennedy Carter or anyone else, play the game hard and stop going on social media and blaming Caitlyn Clark and all of Caitlyn Clark's fans for the ills of society in the world. It gets so old. And
the idea that it's Fever fans.
Here's what Caitlyn Clark, by the way, had to say when asked if it was intentional or not.
Please, circling back on the play with your eye, what would you say to the crowd of people that think a hit like that was intentional and maybe even warrants a suspension?
It wasn't intentional by any means. You just watched the play. It wasn't intentional.
All right. Thank you, Caitlyn.
Thanks, Caitlyn.
Yeah, you know what I saw there? Someone with Stockholm Syndrome. Someone who's been kidnapped by the league and is afraid to say it, because if she said what we all saw, that it was intentional, there would be a hit put out on her. She'd probably get busted in the mouth by someone else in the next game.
That's going to happen anyway.
That's going to happen anyway. But, I mean, she's not going to invite more of it on. Like, what is she supposed to say? Yeah, it was intentional. That's what I think. Well, I didn't get an apology. They didn't even call a foul. But I feel like
that's what the issue is. We're back to the first weekend of the league.
I sympathize with Caitlyn Clark because if you feel like there is an entire – Caitlyn Clark is a minority in the WNBA. And if you feel like the majority of the WNBA is out to get you and hate you, and I'm quoting the woman who just nearly poked her eye out. I'm quoting what she said. How can you not be bothered when your name, talking about Caitlyn Clark, is used to justify racism, bigotry, misogyny, xenophobia, homophobia, and the intersectionality of all of them? That's what she thinks about Caitlyn Clark. Her name is the Jesus Christ of racism. That she is the racist figure that those that are racist are worshiping her. She believes this, and then she pokes her in the eye. So then if Caitlyn Clark's asked, do you think it was intentional? If I thought, and I'm playing in a league that everyone felt that way about me, which you know Caitlyn Clark feels some of this, yeah, you know what I'd say? Probably what she just did. No, it wasn't intentional. Definitely wasn't intentional. Because, guys, I'm trying to save my kneecap for the rest of this series. Is what I'm thinking if I'm Caitlyn Clark.
Well, there's no saving it if the league doesn't.
It's just ridiculous. And yes, WNBA, couple things here.
You've got to do something.
You have got to close the gap of serious basketball league with your attention you're now getting. This league is getting ratings. They are selling out NBA arenas and breaking records when Caitlyn Clark plays in games. And the fact that your officiating crew didn't even call a foul on that play, get it together. There's a huge gap right now, I think, in quality of the league and how it's run and officiated with interest. That's the good news is the interest is higher than it's ever been. We got to close that gap to where the league and the officials are worthy of the interest the league is now getting.
Chad, real quick, I brought this up last week and throughout the season. They also need to get a grip on when they're going to play their playoff games.
Yeah.
The league's broadcast, WNBA, is going to go head-to-head with the NFL up to 7 times throughout the playoffs. That happened with the first playoff game for Caitlyn Clark. It overlapped with the divisional matchup with the 49ers and Rams. In October, the best of 5 WNBA finals. If they make it to the championship deciding tiebreaker, okay? Game 5. That game will be played on NFL Sunday. The same day as the Super Bowl rematch between the Chiefs and the 49ers. They're going head-to-head with that game. They're going head-to-head with Taylor Swift for a Game 5 of their final. What are they doing? That is just nonsensical.
Yeah, it's the whole thing. And it's got to – talking about all these stories is one thing, and this is where you can get a grip on that part of it by suspending her if you're the league.
Yeah.
And making an example of, hey, you can't go on social media and say this person is the reason or that they're the spokesperson for this, even though they're not doing any of it, and then go out and hurt the person. We can't do that, so you're going to be suspended. Think if
among other things that she's posted.
Think if Nikola Jokic, okay, in an NBA game said, Draymond Green is the poster child for all of the anti-Serb content I receive online, and that all of my Serbian brothers receive online.
And Warriors fans are guilty
He
of
is
it.
the spokesperson. His podcast and his fans and viewers, they are the reason I get anti-Serbian messages constantly sent to me on social media. I'm called this, this, and this. And then Nikola Jokic, 2 months later in a playoff series, pokes Draymond Green in the eye in a fashion that looks like it could have been intentional. Do you think he's going to get suspended?
Sure he is.
Hell yes, he is. And that's where
Just
the
like
NBA
Draymond.
is run more like a pro league than the WNBA.
Yes.
The WNBA is afraid.